Hi, it's Middle-Aged Gamer Guy here, and we're talking everything about EGX2023, which took place on October 12th, 13th, 14th and 15th at Excel in London. I've been attending EGX for quite a few years now, and I was here for all 4 days of this gaming event. As soon as you walk in on the Thursday, we were greeted by the Res Indie Game area, which is where the main chunk of games are. Loads of games to play here. But I'm going to be going through this video talking about some of the devs that I met, some of the games I got to play, my thoughts on the show, and giving honest opinions. There's something that I've been attending a lot of the time. Now, one thing you're going to notice is it's not that busy in this video. Now, bear in mind, this was 10 AM just as they opened the doors on the Thursday. Saturday was the busiest day. It was absolutely rammed on Saturday. But you could easily get around on both the Friday and Sunday. Lots of indie games to play, as mentioned, and 7 big AAA games, which is an improvement on the last 2 years since COVID. One being the stand that had the most games was the Sega stand, which had 5 of those games there, which was pretty cool. And right opposite that there we had the Nintendo stand, which was promoting the brand new Super Mario Bros. Wonder game. I'll be showing you some of these games. Now bear in mind, I'm not allowed on some of the stands to film any footage of the games, unfortunately, but there are some that we can. But I'll be giving my opinions in this video. TikTok were the big sponsor. They've taken over from Virgin Media. They are apparently sponsoring this event for the next 3 years. Now I'm going to say this. I do feel this event was a little bit of a step back compared to 2022. It's never been the big event it always used to be since COVID hit, but the Repop seems to be trying and getting things going. But there did seem to be a lot of empty spaces on the floor, which is worrying that we're now like a couple of years past COVID. But I'll be giving my opinions on this, and I headed to the first game here, which obviously had the biggest queues, which was the new Call of Duty. But let's start on the Thursday with what I played on the day, which was the brand new Sonic the Hedgehog game. Now, I was really looking forward to this, and this again came out the week after EGX. Didn't have to queue very long for this, but it was a great stand. You know, there was a little Sonic touchpad game that you could play. They were giving away badges and other things, and there was 2 lots of demos that you'll see. But really enjoyed this, and as some of you may have seen, I've already streamed this game and had lots of fun with it. But I did feel that this stand in particular, they kind of put the most attention and love to, and it was the first game that I made a beeline for at the show, and was so glad that I got to do it. And at the time of recording this, I did get to play the one demo, but I went back on the Sunday and played the second demo as well, and it was the one game that I went to play back the most, not gonna lie. So, first game of 4 days, and it had to be the new Sonic Superstars, which is literally out next week. I'm looking forward to it. Got to play a demo. There's 2 lots of levels you can do, but you're only allowed to do 1 lot at a time. So, literally queued up for a few minutes, went in, played a 15-minute demo of the first levels. Really enjoyed it. First thoughts, very classic Sonic. Got lots of items in it that feel like really cool. And then they've got some of the bonus levels that you recognise, but they've done a twist on the bonus levels. So yeah, I'm going to basically try another one of the demos a little bit later on. But yeah, definitely get my hands on that. And if you do queue up, you get a pin badge, which is cool. My second game of the show was Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Here is my thoughts of this fantastic game. I'm at the Nintendo booth, just played Super Mario Wonder. Got loads of Switches, only queued for a few minutes to play it. Got to play about 4 levels. It's literally out next week, and it is brilliant. New mechanics, changing into an elephant is insane. The drill, I managed to try the drill costume where you drill underneath. So there's all these quick little techniques, but it feels like a traditional Mario game, which is really cool. So definitely go check this out. Just across the way from the Res area is the GI Academy. Now this is quite a big focus of EGX as well. It's not just about getting to play games and having fun. It's also about learning things, and this area is great if you want to get into the games industry. So if you are a game developer, if you're an artist and don't know where to start, they give advice and tips on their little stage, as well as a number of universities that come along and show the courses. So even if you're not at that step yet where you want to get a job but you want to considering it as a career, you can speak to the universities, get advice. But then there are companies that actually make the games, and it stands Rebellion, famous for the Sniper Elite games, are there. You can basically have portfolio reviews. You can actually get to speak to people that actually physically recruiting for jobs, and as you can see, scan around here, there's a number of booths where you can literally book appointments and talk to these people as well as learn a number of things. I think this is a great addition. Not all gaming events do this, but if you want to get a career in the industry, this is certainly the place to be. Now, on to some of the games in the Rezzed area. I got to play lots throughout the 4 days, but one of the first ones I tried was Prison City, which was pretty much just come out on PC and soon to come out on all consoles as well. It gave me great Nintendo NES vibes, basically running around, shooting bad guys, talking to different characters, but it felt great. It just had this really good like 80s action style to it, which I loved. The other thing about this stand was you could actually play the demo or play the game, but there was 2 stands where you could actually talk to the devs and learn more about the game while you're playing. So not only would they give you advice and tips, but they wanted to hear your opinions while playing, which I thought was quite unique, because some stands had people there that you could speak to that wanted feedback. Some just had reps to help you play the game, but this was quite unique that they had 2 people online all 4 days that you could speak to. So, one of the games I was invited to go and try at the event, and I had a booked appointment for, was Pine Hearts, which is due out next year. This game was fantastic. It looks brilliant. It plays brilliant. It's a great little puzzler game. But here is one of the team to explain exactly what Pine Hearts is.
Hey there, my name's Rob. I'm the creative director at Hyperliminal Games, and today we're demoing Pine Hearts, which is our new itsy bitsy narrative adventure game. It's all about this little guy Tyke who goes back to Pine Hearts Caravan Park one summer to relive family memories and explore the park and help characters and meet new people. So it'll be out in March next year, March 2024, for PC and Nintendo Switch. And if you like what you see, we'd love a wish list because it really helps us out. Thanks very much.
So I really enjoyed this, not going to lie. It reminded me how it gives Zelda vibes, but obviously not in an adventure way. Because obviously you're in a campsite, you have problems to solve, and there's certain places you can't go unless you get certain abilities. And it did bring like Zelda vibes back, but like kind of back to basics. And I really enjoyed this. I can't wait for this. So definitely go check this out. And as he says, add it to your Steam list, because I think this will be one to watch for in 2024. There was a number of VR games at the show this year. I'll be honest, I don't really play VR games, so I didn't really try a lot. But this was one that I'd actually played at WASD the month prior to before, which is C Smash VR, which is like this amazing tennis game. I actually really enjoyed this, and if you're a VR user, go for it. It's great fun. But if you're like me, you'll be very out of breath after you finish playing it. Cyberpower were there with all their hardware. You could check out all the amazing computers and all the different stuff that they had, the keyboards, the mouse, the headphones, all the stuff. I'd be fair, this was really the only main kind of exhibitor that was showing off stuff like this. Previous years there's been a lot more, but I had a really cool bus that you could go on and check out all the equipment. So there's a number of stages that you can go to for different pieces of content at EGX, and this is the main one, the EGX Theatre. Now, this was a lot smaller than previous years, which I was kind of surprised about, but I think the thing that went against it, unfortunately, was the fact that they decided to put the EGX Arena, where the Tekken and Street Fighter tournaments, right across the way from it. Now, the arena was a very loud area, and this meant there was a lot of talks where people couldn't be heard. You had lots of different panelists, and unfortunately it ruined it for a lot of people. A lot of people were complaining and walking out on a number of the talks over the 4 days. So I do think that EGX needs to rethink where they position that arena. They've never done that before. I don't know why they thought it was a good idea to do it this year. But getting to some of the content, on the Thursday afternoon I went to watch the What Does a Community Manager Do? We had a number of people on stage talking about their roles, what they do as a community manager, why community managers are so important. I really enjoyed this talk, and I have to say it gave me a better understanding of why community managers are so important. But moving on to the second day, we went straight as the doors opened to probably one of the games that had the biggest queues, which was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3.
There you go, folks. So just got on beta Saturday morning of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. That's probably going to be backwards, but there you go. Got a 20-minute game. Got about 2.5 games in. the 20 minutes. Played a couple of maps. Seems pretty good. Obviously they don't show you anything of like the main story, it's all to do with the multiplayer stuff, but yeah, you know, it's all good. Played well. I was playing it on PC, which actually I've never played a COD game on PC before, so got used to that, but yeah, it's alright. Not really my thing, but it's enjoyable, what can I say. But a good way to start the Friday, the second day. Good way to start Friday. So just behind me you can see Sega stand, which we've got a number of games, and I've just tried Persona 5 Tactica. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Persona games, but this does something different. It takes the characters and takes the very cool music and all the effects from it, and basically just puts it into a turn-based combat game, which is pretty damn cool. But it's worth checking out. So I've got to play about 10 minutes of it. Yeah, it's worth checking out. I'm intrigued. It comes out on everything in November. I think November the 11th. It comes to Game Pass as well. So I'm going to give it a whirl. This convinced me. I wasn't sure what I was going into, but I quite like this, I have to say.
Now, at 11 o'clock on the Saturday morning, I went to see another panel, and this was all about horror games, talking about why horror games are so important, why they sell well, why people love them so much. And they had people that had made such games as Silent Hill 2, Alien Isolation, the Dark Pictures Anthology, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and some of the people that are working on the upcoming Killer Clowns from Outer Space game. Really enjoyed this panel, thought it really interesting, and I had my partner in crime, yes, that's right, Amy Eve was there with me, my producer Amy, to watch this particular panel. On the Friday afternoon, I was invited to the very first Creator Collab conference in the Platinum Suites at Excel. Big thank you to Just About for inviting me to the event. They had a number of topics they were discussing. They were talking about how to find success on TikTok, because it's obviously a huge platform these days. Basically, how other well-known content creators got discovered, their hints, their tips, their journeys, sharing their thoughts and feelings on how they've become such a success. There was also obviously tips and advice on how to monetize your streams or your content, how to get sponsors, how to approach sponsors, kind of find the right sponsors for your channels on your content. And also one of the team from Yogscast was there to talk about the annual Jingle Jam, which I was not aware of, which is a thing that's been running for many, many years, which takes place for 2 weeks. Big charity event in December. And on top of that, they had a final panel to talk about your own mental health and how you can get through, when you should take a break. Do you have to stream 7 days a week? Do you not? How do you deal with those pesky people in your chat? It was such a good conference. I want to say thank you for Just About for putting on all that content, and it was definitely worth just going to EGX for that alone. Now, a game that I really enjoyed was Stampede Racing Royale, and it was on the Saturday I got to try this out. A kart racer, but with a difference. Really thoroughly enjoyed this and can't wait for this. This is going to be cross-platform when it comes out. Here's some more info about the game.
Hey, so I'm Chris Groves, Senior Community Manager at Sumo Leamington, and me and our team are working on Stampede Racing Royale, which is a free-to-play online kart racing game with battle royale elements. You take on the world in 60-player events where you race and battle to become the ultimate champion. So it takes place over 3 rounds, and you battle through those 3 rounds to get to that final round race to become ultimate champion there at the end. There's loads of customization content to pick out for your kart and character to unlock and find. And yeah, we're super early on in development. We're coming to early access on Steam very soon and consoles in the future. So yeah, that's Stampede Racing Royale.
Now, one of the main areas of EGX is normally the market area, and again, this area was a lot smaller than on previous years. Last year's market area was way bigger than this, and I noticed there was quite a few of the regular people that exhibited didn't seem to be there. There was quite a few empty stands on the Thursday, which was a bit weird. I'd heard there'd been traffic problems and stuff, but those stands seem to have got filled by the Friday, so I'm guessing that some of the exhibitors managed to turn up. Also, a few of the same stands selling the same thing, and I don't mean like they had repeat products, like you can see Clicks Therapy there, like literally had 2 or 3 stands in the same area, which I thought was weird. Plenty of board games, tabletop games to buy, Pokemon cards, not as many things selling figurines, a couple of jewellery ones, some selling controls. We actually had 2 stands that were actually selling computer games. I don't think I've seen any stand selling computer games since 2018, so that was quite good. Lots of artists and artwork, but generally, again, smaller than previous years in what was there and what they had to offer. And I actually only ended up buying like one thing. So in terms of a shopping experience for everything geeky, a little bit disappointed this year, not gonna lie. Don't know whether it's just due to exhibitors not being able to afford stuff, or it's more difficult, or there's just so many different events out there now that maybe the choice of what to exhibit at might be the thing these days. But just showing you a number of the different exhibitors that were at the show. But yeah, like Insert Coin weren't there. You know, there's a number of other ones that I like as well that didn't seem to be there, that we'd usually see and buy lots of stuff from. But maybe for next year, maybe there'll be more exhibitors, but we'll see. We'll see. Another area that was very busy was the retro arcade area. There was 2 kind of retro areas, but this was my favourite. This is done by Replay Events. They supply a lot of the arcade cabinets, and I probably spent more time here than I have done previous years. I normally jump on the odd game and have a play of something that I've not played before, but there's lots of classic ones you'd expect, your Pac-Mans, your Super Mario Brothers, but also some other great games that I'd not seen before. Tron, you got your classic Defender there, and there was 2 games that I actually played through and finished start to finish, which I've never been able to get to because everything was on free play. One was the classic RoboCop arcade game from the 1980s, and the other was Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, which I've only ever played once. I was really looking forward to playing that and got to complete both of them. They also had the Afterburner cabinet and the Outrun cabinet that they had from last year. Didn't play on those because I did play those last year, but great to see them up and working. And numerous other games. There's the RoboCop cab that I spent, I think, probably about a good 40 minutes playing and completing that game. And loads of other games. So it was a great selection this year. I felt Golden Axe there, numerous others, Galaxian. But yeah, great fun to play. And there it is in all its glory, the Michael Jackson arcade cabinet. Now there was 2 Like a Dragon games at the show, which I'll explain about. But one I got to play on the Thursday and the other on the Saturday. And here are my thoughts about both.
So just behind me, back at the Sega stand, it's now Saturday, and there's the 2 Yakuza, or Like a Dragon games, as they're now known. On the Thursday I got to play the one that you can see over there, just there, which is Yakuza, or Like a Dragon, Man with No Name, which is kind of a in-between story of what happened to one of the main characters. And on the one just behind me, right there, I played today, was the Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, which is the follow-up from Yakuza Like a Dragon. So both play very similar in respect. I actually think the Infinite Wealth demo was better, mainly because it had a lot more in it. Got a 20-minute demo, got to play a main storyline thing, go after this crooked cop. Then it's crazy stuff like you do. Started waiting, working at a restaurant and waiting on people as you do. And then with the Man with No Name, it was kind of like you were dropped in this casino area, so you could play lots of gambling games, card games, darts and stuff, but then there was also like a brawler arena thing going on, which was cool, but I preferred the Infinite Wealth demo more, I'd say. But Man with No Name comes out in November, also coming to Game Pass, and sometime next year is Infinite Wealth. Also coming to Game Pass and all of the platforms, so look out for those. There you go.
Here you can see the EGX arena area where the Tekken and Street Fighter tournaments took place for big cash prizes. One of the other big AAA games that was at the show, which had just come out literally a couple of days before, was the new Forza Motorsport. There was a small Xbox stand with a play seat, which actually had some proper racing seats you could sit in, and you could bomb around the one of the tracks in a Porsche. I queued for this. Originally, if it was just been playing the game, I probably wouldn't have, but the fact I got to actually sit in one of the proper driving seats was a really cool experience, as you can see from here. And I did play the game literally the week after I got back from EGX, and it is great. Forza Motorsport is superb, and here you can see all the different people playing the game to heart's content. But yeah, you got to do a couple of laps on a specific track. It was great fun, and really enjoyed it. One game I didn't try, because I'd already played it at WSD, was the new Prince of Persia game. Now, I'm not going to lie, this stand was right at the back of the show, near the kids area, and if you blinked, you'd miss it, but people were still queuing for it. It is a great game. Can't wait for this when it comes out in January. Amongst all the other sort of novel things that were going on, there was a Five Nights at Freddy's truck, which was giving out free pizza every lunchtime, and you could get some Five Nights at Freddy's poster for the film that has just come out. Back in the Res area, I got to try out a number of games that P-Cube, the publisher, were putting out. Now, one game I tried and enjoyed thoroughly was Resistor, a brand new sort of racing game and story-driven game that was on their stand. And here is one of the team from P-Cube to explain what that game is all about.
Hi there, I'm Aaron, I'm the product manager for Resistor. I'm here at EGX with our EGX exclusive demo. Essentially what Resistor is, it is a racing game for people that aren't necessarily into racing games. So imagine blending the cinematic storytelling of something like The Wolf Among Us and Mass Effect with the kind of stunt-infused racing of like the PS2 era classics of like SSX Tricky or Burnout Takedown. So the idea is that you're going to be exploring this vast open world, encountering this big, vivid cast of characters with lots of like interlocking stories and multiple subplots and endings. But the minute-to-minute gameplay is just going to be really, really fun. So you're going to be using your kind of like turbocharged kind of racer to explore this big, expansive world and rack up these kind of like style points to kind of like build up your reputation. Your reputation in the open world will essentially allow you to progress, where you'll be able to unlock new areas, places like ramps, including tunnels through ravines, and kind of like just unlocking more to explore and to see. There's going to be like a number of hub areas in the game as well. So in our first section, the Northern Waste, you can explore the rig, which is a big decommissioned oil rig, and that's essentially going to be where the NPCs will give you quests in the form of races. The races won't always have the objective to win. Sometimes you just have to do these cool kind of like stunts or build up your score in a way that will kind of like make you the most kind of like infamous kind of like racer in the world. And eventually, once you've built up your reputation high enough, you're going to be unlocking these kind of like boss showdowns. So the bosses of the game each have their own kind of like music genre, and so like take for example Diamond, who's on here, her kind of vibe is UK jungle. So imagine almost like a rhythm back like kind of like section where you're on rails and you have to time your attacks with hers, and also just dodging out the way of things as they're like coming in, all in time to the rhythm of the beat of the music. And that's essentially what this is in a nutshell.
So, as mentioned earlier in the video, the Resd area is probably one of the bigger areas where most of the games are. There's a lot of indie developers, or well-known indie developers in this area, lots of games. The new Starship Troopers game was there, or I think a DLC for the game that had recently come out. The Back to the Future Power Wash DLC was there. Total War Pharaoh, which literally came out a couple of weeks after this event, was there as well. But loads of great games that you could play, whether they were strategy, action, kids, combat, VR, and I always find that, to me, the Resd area is the one place where you find most of those amazing gems of games that you want to add to your gaming list for the year. But here's most of the stands that you can see, which are close quite by the entrance. But so many games that I could talk about in this, and some I loved, some were okay, but there's some that I really, really can't wait for. They're looking to be superb games for 2024 and beyond. Big thank you to all the devs that I interviewed, which some made this video and some I just had a general chit chat with and I've continued to talk to after the show. Really, really appreciate your time and effort, because obviously you're there to showcase your games, and obviously I have a lot of people to talk to, so just want to say a big thank you to all of them for taking the time out to talk to me over the course of the 4 days. Now, as I mentioned, I went to see a number of panels over the weekend, but one that I was very excited for, and I did go to watch last year as well, was the Sea of Thieves panel, where some of the team, including Joe Neat, were there talking about what has happened with Sea of Thieves over the past year, what new additions they're adding, tease some little things about Sea of Thieves Fest. It was a great hour-long talk to find out what they've got planned for 2024 and beyond for the amazing game that is Sea of Thieves. Now, it's not all about computer games, it's also about tabletop, board games, dice games, card games, and you could play them here in the very popular Tabletop Zone, which was sponsored by Dicebreaker. Loads of games to choose from, loads of games you could play with your friends, and especially when the main part of the show closed at 6 o'clock, I could see lots of people playing this all the way when the bar was open till 10 in the evening. Now, one game I was very excited for that I'd heard about a couple of months previous to the show was The Precinct. This is a game that I really wanted to get on, and it took me a couple of days to actually get on because it was very busy, lots of people playing. But here's one of the team from the game explaining exactly what it is and why I'm so hyped for this game.
So, Precinct, it is a 1980s inspired cop game. So you'll have like police flying over cars that fold over them. You'll be playing as a rookie cop. You'll be going through the ranks, and the narrative of the game is that you are trying to find out what happened to your father. He passed away while in the line of duty. Yeah, you'll have like a mix of action sandbox elements, very similar to other games of this kind. So you'll be able to do vehicle chases, chase down speed cars, runs, stuff like that. You'll also be able to do foot patrols, stop searches, give me parking tickets, which is oddly addictive. And you'll also be able to be the eye in the sky helicopter commanding the different traffic cops to restrain the suspect.
Something that's a regular feature of EGX is the PC LAN zone, where you get lots of new and classic games such as Left 4 Dead 2 and Portal, Doom, and get to play them with people on a giant LAN area. Now, this isn't something I normally hop onto, but it was always busy and great to see so many people enjoying that experience. For the second year running, they had brought the Gauntlet to EGX. Now, I wasn't quite sure what this was last year, but it turned out it was a challenge that you could play a number of retro games and retro challenges to win some big prizes each day. Again, didn't get a chance to go on this, but this was more prominent than last year. It was tucked away in a corner last year, but this had a good position in where it was, and still lots of people queuing and lots of people hopefully winning some fantastic prizes on some classic games. Now, we always get some interesting stands at EGX, and this was one that I'd noted before the show began, and that was Specsavers were there to give you eyes and ear tests. And they also did this while you got to play the brand new Sonic the Hedgehog game. Now, not quite sure what the eyes and ears tests were actually like, but I did see a big queue. Now, whether that was because the queue for the Sonic stand was quite big and people thought, oh, I could jump on this, but it did look quite cool what they were doing. So fair play to Specsavers for being there. Right next to the Retro Arcade is another staple of EGX, which is the Retro Console and Computer area. You've got everything from Amigas, Spectrums, Amstrad, NES, SNES, Mega Drives, Master Systems, Saturns, Neo Geos, you name it. 3DOs, I think, as well, I saw as well. And loads of games, whether it be rhythm action-based games, sports games, driving games, classic platformers, action games. There was tons and tons of games to play from the last 20 to 30 years. Some fantastic games. Always great to see this collection of games here. I remember 2 years ago playing, I think it was one of the Batman games on there. But you can play things like Lemmings. Oh God, who doesn't love Lemmings? Loads of other games. Here's some of the classic computers. And all beautifully looked after. Apologies for the flickering there on the screen. But you can see some great games at the show. And some classic ones that, you know, the youth of today might not even know of. And might get hooked on and understand how now you get these amazing AAA games where they all kind of started from. Now, a big shout out to this game, Billy Bustup from Humble Games. This was one I wasn't aware of, and I went to play, and it's kind of like a platformer in the style of Crash Bandicoot, but the enemies burst into song. Now, I don't know how the rest of this game will go, but when I played the demo, I was very impressed because it was like playing a operatic song And as the enemy was singing the words and saying about how the different ways they were going to kill you, the different items that they mentioned were flying at you in the game. This is definitely one to look out for. A new addition for this year at EGX was the family-friendly zone, where kids could play family-friendly games such as the new Grinch or Transformers, and even do some arts and crafts. Another great game I managed to play that I'd heard a lot about was Yellow Taxi Goes Boom, where you control a little wind-up taxi that goes bombing around this fun little cartoon city with lots of fun tasks to do and enemies to get. This was great fun playing this, and I'm really looking forward to playing this later when it comes out. Now, another area that you can find some hidden gems of games that are made by either single or duo developers is the Left Field collection, where you have a selection of games which are rather unique in their own special way. As you can see, there's a number of games. I think there was about 16 games to try out. Now, one of the standout games for me was one from Low Tech Games, Alistair Lowe, who's made this really cool projection and pop-up book game. Now, I've seen him at other shows, but I finally got to speak to him, and here's a quick chat with him.
I'm Alistair Lowe, I run Low Tech Games. We're making a projection map pop-up book game. The first demo we made is called Bib Goes Home. It automatically detects what page you're on and changes like what you see. It's a little platformer, but you can also colour it in, as you can see behind me. And there's a golf mode and whatever other random stuff we can come up with. We want to sell the projector and the book as a kind of kit, a pack, and then sell a bunch of books after that work with the system. So we're basically creating a new console, which sounds scary and exciting. But hopefully things go right in the future. Cool.
Each one of these pages is encoded, and that reflects the information and then go back through to the projector to what bits. So you've got like which page it's on.
Down in the corner.
Another cool game that I tried out on the Sunday was The Spirit of Samurai, a side-scrolling hack-and-slash game, which has got some very spooky and nasty vibes, but a cute little cat as well. This is another one to look out for. Thoroughly enjoyed this as well. And that was it, ladies and gentlemen. That was my 4 days in EGX. I had a really great time. Now, as I said, few little things with the show that wasn't quite that happy with, feeling that it was a little bit of a step back, but generally it was a good show for 2023. And I want to thank everyone that I met and had chats with, and some of the press and people that I spoke to during that event. And also want to say a big thank you to all the devs for taking their time to speak to me about all their wonderful games, which have now been added to my list, because I'll probably have a very long list of games to play for 2024. And for any of you that I met at the show that came and said hi, was great to see you and spend some time chatting to you wonderful, wonderful people. I am looking forward to EGX in 2024, which will be running from the 19th to the 22nd of September at XL in London. So tickets are not on sale yet, but put the dates in your diary, as that event will be coming around for next year. That's all from me. See you soon. Take care.